Mark Golding breaks the rules and blames the speaker, shows a tantrum, and exposes lack of intelligence. I watched a 411 video because I love to go there to listen the reasoning. This time I was so shocked my eyes and ears saw and heard what is so hard to believe. I cannot believe the ignorance I experienced in Parliament. This is not just me saying it. The evidence is on record, and I saw the super dunce in Mark Golding's team in Parliament and I almost fainted. Some of the members were new, and that is understandable, but not when no ends up explaining a simple thing could help them. This is a SkyWalker commentary, people. A shocking one. Welcome to the channel. We have to talk. Jamaica is in trouble. The opposition is incapable. What are we going to do as a nation now? Is Mark Golding the problem? Well, he is the leader, isn't he? And he was the one telling the most lies and doubling down on ignorance. As I said, he is the leader. Would it help if he stepped down? When a liar cannot understand the basics, what do we do? Mic off, mind off. When white privilege performs democracy and fails the test. Oh boy. People, there are too many receipts. The collapse was televised and the lies are all recorded. Mark Golding proves to be forever the author of the book of He Lies because he does lie. He really, really lies. We watched it unfold in real time, not a misunderstanding, not a rookie error, a full blown collapse of cognitive discipline in Jamaica's parliament, led by seasoned opposition MPs who couldn't grasp the basic logic of ministerial accountability. The Speaker, Juliet Holders, cited Standing Order 14 that clarified the rules, gave examples, and exercised patience that rather than ceremonial grace. Yet the People's National Party under Mark Golding's leadership shows defiance over discipline. They ask questions about contractor payments and National Works Agency operations, topics outside the portfolio of Minister Matthew Samuda. When corrected, they didn't recalibrate, they walked out people. And then in a press conference, riddled with inversion, Golding claimed the government was making a mockery of Parliament. But the mockery had already happened, and it was his people. The collapse of reasoning, kindergarten logic in Garden House. Davian Crawford, a man who prides himself on intellectual sharpness, stood up and said, I am confused as to how it is not appropriate within a question to this particular statement, regardless of the minister's portfolio. That's not confusion, that's super dunce. That's like demanding that a doctor produces an architect's diagnosis and expect applause. Huh? You go man say, Doctor, why you can't give me the architect diagnosis? Chris Brown followed suit, pushing questions about unpaid contractors after being told 3 times it was inadmissible and having it explained to make the reason clear. But to his credit, his face seemed to be so stupefied that you could blame the people that voted for him. They would have known as it was so obvious, so they cannot blame him then. The speaker didn't silence them. She enforced the rules they refused to follow, and Golding, instead of guiding his team, staged a walkout. People, it's recorded, you can see for yourself. That's not leadership. That's deflection dressed in indignation. The British man wanted to bully the parliament and force Mrs. Holness to tweak the rules for his Buckamaza privileges, but she was obviously not impressed. I am really loving the child for Speaker of the House now. Golding's post walkout press conference was a masterclass in ritual inversion. He claimed the opposition was deliberately prevented from asking pertinent questions, but the footage shows the opposite. The speaker explained the rules, cited the standing orders, and offered multiple chances for correction. The opposition ignored all of it. They ignored the rules. Juliet Holness did not make them up herself. She could only do her job, but Mark Golding attempted to put the blame on her. She did not buckle, and then Golding tried to play it off like he was the defender of the truth. This wasn't a defense of democracy, it was a performance of grievance. Golding didn't clarify the rules, he didn't correct his MPs, he didn't restore credibility. He leaned into the chaos, people. He leaned into the chaos, hoping the public wouldn't notice the difference between being silenced and being out of order. Mark felt the colonial echo. His privilege went into rebellion as expected. The London baby began to tell lies and show a tantrum. Well, he is the author of the book of he lies, isn't he? The good thing about it is that no one can question the truth in this video because it's all recorded, isn't it? Let's name it with ancestral clarity. What we witnessed was not just political misbehavior, it was the performance of inherited privilege. Mark Golding, a European descendant leader, expected the speaker to bend the rules for his team. When she didn't, he accused her of abuse. That's not oversight. That's the contempt of a slave master reenacted in Parliament. They believe the law is for us, not for them. They expect exception, not equality. They invoke democracy as a linguistic weapon, not a constitutional principle. And when corrected, they perform grievance instead of accountability. That's not leadership, that's colonial mimicry. There is a global pattern to all this behavior by the British and their counterparts. They use democracy as decoy. Yes, democracy is their biggest decoy. What Golding did in Jamaica mirrors what Western powers are doing in Burkina Faso and beyond. They invoke democracy to justify interference, regime change, and economic control. In Burkina Faso, the West demands democratic restoration while ignoring the sovereignty of a people reclaiming their own path. In Jamaica, Golding invokes democracy to Mark's procedural defiance and intellectual collapse. First, he mocked democracy and then had a press conference to complain that the JLP mocked democracy after they were the ones that upheld it in Parliament, and Golding was angry because they didn't bend. It's the same script. Use democracy as a shield for disorder from correction as oppression. Demand exception, not accountability. Invoke foreign standards while erasing local sovereignty. The danger when leadership mirrors its lowest tier. This opposition isn't just confused, it's dangerous. If this is how they behave in opposition, defiant, unteachable, and performative, what happens if they farm government? Who reads the contracts? Who interprets the constitution? Who protects the public purse? Who does the maths? Golden didn't defend the law. He tried to bully it. He didn't lead. He walked out. He didn't clarify. He gaslit. And his team, seasoned as hell, couldn't grasp the basic logic of ministerial accountability. That's not a political breach. That's a cognitive one. This moment must be archived not just as a political spectacle but as a ritual breach. The speaker upheld the law, the opposition defied it, the leader inverted it, and the public watched it all unfold. People, Juliet Holness tried to nudge the kindergarten folks back to their senses, for when the mic goes off, the mind should come on. But in this parliament, the mic was cut and the mind stayed off. Democracy isn't a costume, it's a covenant. And when leaders treat it like a stage, the people must speak out. This was a Skywalker no nonsense commentary. Thanks for watching.